All right, friends. So I am here to talk a little bit about our next unit. This video is for first grade and kindergarten. We are doing two different projects, but we're going to start the same way. So we're going to start the same way because we're going to be making shapes. So we are talking about the element of shape. And if you know anything about shapes, shapes always have to be closed. It means that there is no way for them to get out, and they have to be flat. So they have to be closed and flat. So I'll show you what I mean by that on a separate piece of paper. So if I was to draw two forms, I'll do an A and I'll do a B. This, okay. So one of these is a shape and one is not a shape. If I put a dot in both of these, if I put a dot in both of these, the dot can escape out of letter A. So it can go right out that little opening. Because it has an opening there, that means that this is not closed. So if it's not closed, it cannot be a shape. But this dot is trapped. It cannot get out. So that makes it a shape, okay? So these are all, B is your shape and A is a line that's pretending to be a shape, okay? Another thing that's a characteristic of a shape is that it has to be flat. So we notice that this square is flat. If we wanted it to be a form, that means it's not flat, it's 3D. It will become a cube. So I would just add sides to it. Now, I do not want you to worry about forms right now. We'll get into forms when we get into an older grade level. But right now, we're just going to worry about shapes. All right. So before I turned this into a form, it was a shape, it was a square. So we are going to be doing two different projects. I'm going to start with, and they're going to start the same way. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to prepare for the project. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn your paper so that it's vertical. Vertical means up and down long ways. You do not want it to be side to side. And you want to fold that paper in half. All right, it's going to make a long hot dog shape. A long hot dog shape. So it looks like a hot dog. Okay. It's long, it's narrow, it's not wide. So that's what you want. You want to fold it in half. And then we want to put our four fingers in the middle of our paper because we're going to be folding this into a trifold. Trifold means it's going to have three different parts. Okay. So I'm laying my hand in the middle and I'm going to take one side of my paper and I'm going to fold it over my hand. So it's going to eat my hand. It's eating it. Okay. And I'm going to remove my hand and I'm going to press down. All right. It's kind of hard to see that. Let me focus a little bit more. My camera doesn't want to focus on it. I'll zoom down just a little bit more. So you can see right here, my paper's folded right here. Well, right there where I folded it, I want to take the other side and I want to fold it back over. So it's going to make a square. All right. Now, some of your boxes, when you open this back up, may be a little different sizes, but it's okay. So you cannot see that right now because it's a white paper, but I am going to trace where I folded my paper. So I'm just going to draw a line on my fold so you can see all of my boxes. Because by folding it, I have created 6 boxes. So by folding it, I have created 6 boxes. All right, so now I have 6 places where I can put things. And on the other side, I want to do the same thing because we will be using front and back. You will be using front and back. Okay. So now I have 6 boxes on the front, 6 boxes on the back. Okay. So let's start with the back. If you are in kindergarten, your first box is going to be empty. Do not do anything in that box. We want a big square. In this case, it looks more like a rectangle, but we want that for our body of our robot because we're going to be making paper robots. So we want that to be our body, okay? For first grade, though, we're not making robots. We're making Aztec warriors, and so we want that we can just put shapes in here. So kindergarten, skip the first box. Do not do the first box. All right. In the second box, I want you to think of a shape that you could use, and this is for everybody, first grade and for kindergarten. I want you to think of one shape. I'm thinking of a rectangle. And so because rectangles are long and skinny, all I need to do is draw stripes. If I draw this stripe, that made a rectangle right there. You see the rectangle? So there's one rectangle. If I draw another stripe, that makes a second rectangle. And if I draw a third stripe, that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles in that box. So those are 4 rectangles. Okay. Let's go to and a rectangle is a geometric shape. What that means is that you have to measure it. So on 2 sides, it should be the same length, and on the other 2 sides, it should be the same length or the same width. So it's a geometric shape that you have to measure. And we'll talk more about geometric versus organic shapes. All right, I want to do a brand new shape in this box. And for first graders, in your first box, you can come up with another shape that I haven't talked about. So only first grade can draw something in that box. In this box, let's work on triangles. So if I go this way, and they can be different sizes. If I go this way, that creates a triangle, okay? I can do that to all of my corners. That makes another triangle. That makes another triangle in that corner. And I'm just drawing lines. And by connecting the lines to the side, it makes triangles on the side. Now in the middle, you could split that in half to make a trapezoid if you wanted a trapezoid, or we can make more triangles. I think I'm going to make more triangles. But you can see that if I close that, it becomes a trapezoid. And if you want that shape, you can use that shape. So I'm going to make another triangle, and I actually meant to make this a little bit more of a peak. But I'm going to do other triangles. So we know that triangles can be different ways. So by doing this, it made a triangle. If I go this way, it makes another triangle. And I just want to make as many triangles as I can. There's another triangle. Triangle has 3 sides. Tri stands for 3. If I go this way, it makes another triangle. And if I go that way, it makes another triangle. So I'm just filling up triangles in there. Okay. In this box, let's do squares because we're going to need some squares. I'm also going to make my stripes like I did in my first box. I'm going to make 2 lines. That's going to give me 1, 2, 3 rectangles. But I don't want rectangles, I want squares. So I'm going to go down this way and cross back over, and it's going to give me squares. And I want squares for this box. I want squares. So I have my squares there. In your last box, well, your next 2 boxes, I can do something different. So maybe in here, I decide I want to do circles. All right. If you want to find something that's a circle, you can. You can make them different sizes. If you know that you're going to want a big circle somewhere, you can make some big circles. You can make smaller circles. So I think I'll make some small circles just so I have a variety of sizes. All right. And then in this box, you can do a different shape. Let's see what I haven't done yet. Um, We could do trapezoids, since we said we wanted a trapezoid. So what you do is you would start the same way you did with your triangles, and this would give you some more triangles too. But you would start the same way you did your triangles, and then you would cross over. And so this shape in the middle is a trapezoid. So if I take the two triangles off, trapezoid has four sides, one side being shorter than the other side. And so if I wanted to do the same thing over here, I could. And that makes two trapezoids and four triangles. Okay, so I have my shapes, but I don't want to do anything with them yet. Because on the other side of my paper, I'm going to make a design. So I'm going to take anything that you have to color with. It can be crayons, markers, pastels. In my case, I'm going to use some crayons. And we're just going to do a design. So I'm going to start off with some pink diagonal lines. You can make some thick. You can make them thin. It's up to you. Thin. I think I'm going to do a thick one and a thin one. Then I'll do another thick one that's just making it a little bit thicker than the others by giving it a little bit more width to it. And then I'm going to do a skinny one and then a thick one. So I'm making a pattern here, all right, with my crayons. And I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to do a different color this time. So maybe in here, I might do some polka dots. Your design is up to you. You do not have to copy my design. In fact, you should not be copying my design. You should be coming up with your own design. What do you want yours to look like? So I'm going to do that in each box. I'm going to switch colors again. Let's do a green. This is like a yellowish green. So maybe I make some stripes going in a horizontal direction. Or this might be diagonal since it's kind of slanted. All right, so I have my stripes there. I hope you can see it. Sorry if it's a little light. So I have one design in there. And because I'm using watercolor paint to fill in my background, I'm going to paint with a light color. But if you do not have watercolor paint, you do not have to use watercolor paint. You can use markers to color in your shapes, but you want the whole box to be colored. You want the whole box to be colored. I find that using crayons with watercolor is very fast and it gets the job done pretty quickly. So that's why I'm using my watercolor on top of it. But if you don't have watercolor, I could also just color those spaces in orange. So I don't have to paint them in orange, color them in orange. But you do want to color your whole box. You do not want any white space. You want to color your whole box. You'll see why when we make our final design. Okay. And then I think I'm going to do some, oh, that is blue. I don't think I want to use blue. Let's use a little bit of green. And see, I could color that green if I wanted to, but because I use crayon doesn't like water, so it resists the water. And so I can put that right on top. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. Okay. So I have my first design. Now I'm going to go to and do a second design. So I want to do as many of these designs as I can. Let's see. Let's do something pretty fun. So I'm gonna do some zigzag lines here. And if you are first grade, I really want you to try to push yourself to do some really cool designs because we've done this. It's our second year doing it. So I want you to think about how your designs look and what kind of designs you're doing. Kindergarten too. But I especially want my first graders to think about that. How do you want your designs to be put together? How do they look? So I'm making some zigzag patterns on my paper, alternating between blue and yellow, or orange, I should say, actually. And maybe I might take, ooh, purple would be nice to make some, let's do some purple diamonds. I can color them in some purple diamonds. All right. So I am not going to, for sake of time on the video, do all 6 of my boxes, but you need to do all 6 of your boxes. You need to do all 6 of your boxes. I'm going to continue working on mine so that I can show you the next step in your project. But you're going to make 6 designs, 6 patterns. So you want to do all 6. So I'm going to paint that in with another color. I'm thinking I might go back with some red this time. Red would be nice. And because I use crayon, I can just paint right into it. And it's going to fill that space in pretty quickly. But again, if you do not have crayon, if you do not have paint, you do not have to use paint. You can color your spaces in. But I find that painting in makes it a little bit quicker. And again, I'm using watercolor paint. Watercolor paint. But you can do the same thing with markers. You can do the same thing with pastels. You can do the same thing with color pencil. Whatever you have at home. You do not have to use what I'm using because I know we're not physically in school. Okay. So keep making those designs. And then the second video, I'm going to do them separate. So I'm going to make 2 different videos, one for kindergarten and then one for first grade to show you how you're going to cut these apart to make your project collage. Okay, so have fun creating your designs, and I will see you in the second video. Bye, my friends.